Hello and welcome to Tonalist Painting with M. Francis McCarthy. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting we're going to be doing today is a study. It's called Hillside Path, and it's 5x7 in size. And I'm saying study, but I don't intend to actually paint this painting any larger. And while I'm actually pretty happy with the way the 5x7 came out, the reason I've decided not to pursue it in a larger size is it's mostly because of these trees off on the upper, that would be our left hand side and the painting's right hand side. They actually came out looking really awesome in this 5x7, but I don't think I could pull. They're like these sort of trees that don't have leaves on them, and I know I'm going to struggle with that in a larger size. Now there may come a day where that wouldn't be the case, and who knows, I might pursue it. I think it's got a fairly good composition, and I'm happy with it. There's some other niggling little issues with it, but overall I'm happy with it. I'm more than happy to I have it in my studio. It's for sale, and more than happy to sell it to somebody, and more than happy not to actually produce it as a larger painting. That could change in the future. I don't know, but this is part of my my motto this year, which is that just because I do a study doesn't mean I have to make a larger painting. And it's a big part of that's getting out of robot mode, and I've talked about the robot extensively in the past, but I guess I'll recap here for those of you that are new. The robot is the part of the painter that, like I'll see with amateurs when they lay down the stroke on their painting. They don't just lay down one stroke, they'll lay down like 6 or 7 strokes in the same exact area. I call that licking, but it's that automatic part of the painter that is absolutely essential to doing good work. But you have to be careful not to let the robot take over. You have to be careful not to let the things you do by default always be the default. You need to come in with your sense of aesthetics and the part of your mind that evaluates and judges things to really think about what you're doing. And in this case, like I said, I've been doing that with my studies. I started this last year. There's a couple, 2 or 3, maybe 4 studies I did last year that I go, nah, not going to make it a larger painting, because it was really obvious that it wasn't actually working so well. But even in these cases where I have a good looking study and it's a nice looking little painting, I have to go with my intuition and instincts as far as not spending the time making that into a larger painting. And that's absolutely fine. I mean, I sell a ton of these studies out of my studio and in other venues anyway, so and I really enjoy painting small paintings. In fact, that's how I got my start. Now I'll probably always be very comfortable at small sizes. I like how, for example, I can just deal with things like a bunch of random branches and trees just by plopping down a few colored brush strokes. And that's really the point of the studies, is a lot of times I just indicate what I'm going to do with a block of color, and it's too small for me to get real interested in delineating every little aspect of the painting, and which I could do if I was working with small enough brushes. I mean, people have done the Mona Lisa on the head of a pin, so small doesn't mean that you can't do things overtly detailed, but in my case it does, because I'm using brushes that are really too big to deal with that sort of thing. So the other thing that's good about these sort of orphan studies is that I was thinking I'm a little ahead of the game today, so I'm doing this video on Sunday. I've just done the blog post for this week, and actually already uploaded the video, but I thought it would be a good time to maybe have a little extra stuff, because like maybe I could throw this in like Wednesday or something like that. just as a bonus, and run up some sort of blog post with it. And not that I'm planning on getting in the habit of doing 3 of these things every week, but yeah, if it's easy to do, and it was, like I said, I'm happy with the study. I think it's a good little painting, and I'm happy to share it with you guys. And like I say, it's an orphan in that it's going to be breaking out of my usual study one week and larger painting the next week. So I don't feel like it's a major commitment. I can just, pop this out. And that's what I'm doing. We already pretty much talked about how things are going in the studio this week, since I'm a little bit ahead. Like I said, I'm working on studies right now, and I'm working quite a few. I don't know. I think one of the reasons I have so many, I'm doing like 14 right now, is because it wasn't that long ago I came off of my vacation, and I just collected a ton of, really good stuff for reference. And so I'm fairly rich in reference right now, and being rich, I'm being, I'm spreading it around. Not only that, I when visiting my family in California, I had access to some hard drives I'd left out there that had some. Actually, this is probably where this came from. This is actually a scene from some California foothills. Probably took the reference image, the reference photo that I'm using as my inspiration. Probably took that photo back in like 2002 or something with one of my first little digital cameras, and I just kind of had it in the background. And because I did bring some, of course, hard drives full of images over to New Zealand with me when I moved out here, but I think I had some crashes or something like that. I basically lost some bits and pieces, and I'd forgotten in previous trips back to California to really dig this stuff up. So I have a pretty sizable folder of excellent California images that I've been kind of salting in with my England reference and my years and years of accumulated New Zealand reference. And I get tourists that come into my studio, and one of the questions I'm asked a lot is like, is this local scenes? And a good amount of them are. And if I were the salesman type, I would probably just lie and say they all were. But I'm honest. I believe in being honest, and I say, yeah, well, some of them are, some of them aren't. But that's not very important to me. I'm not really what you would call a place painter, quote unquote. I do paint places and I do paint scenes, but to me, it's the emotional content of the scene that I'm really interested in portraying. I could really give a damn where that scene came from, and that goes for New Zealand, England, California. Of course, those are most of the places that I've collected reference, because those are most of the places I've traveled to. But I've been to Hawaii. I've done did a few paintings generated from my time there too, but you'd never be able to tell that they were Hawaii, because my approach is my approach, and that actually trumps the reference that I'm using generally, not always. And that's one of the reasons I avoid real specific-y type scenes with like certain mountains in them, or real distinct trees, or distinct landmarks of any type. I really don't like it. I want my work to have a broad, like, general appeal. And the funny thing is that in the process of creating something I think will have a broad appeal, it may actually limit the sales I have in my area, because it's understandable that a tourist would be coming through and wanting a painting of the area that they're traveling through. But whatever, you guys, if you want a painting, buy a painting. That's how I feel. That's how I reckon. I mean, when I buy work, and I do buy the work of other artists, my wife and I have bought quite a lot of our work. We buy it because we like it. We don't care how popular the artist is or isn't. The one thing I will put is I really only collect original art. and that's all that I produce. I guess one of the exceptions to that is I will collect things like woodblock prints or etchings, but that's a case where a woodblock print or an etching is actually an original. If you think about it, it's not like a mass reproduction. There's going to be a limited number of impressions that are done, and it has a feel of, that's the final product of the artist. I mean, they created a plate and then inked it up and then made a print, and that was their intention all the way through. So and I'm not that big on prints, to be honest. If it's a print, it better be pretty awesome for me to be collecting it. Printmaking is something that I'm interested in, but I don't do, mostly because I'm just obsessed with painting, and I just feel that's time taken away from doing another painting. Anyway, let's see, we're getting close to the end here. Take good care. We'll see you, well, we're going to see you in the weekend. We'll see you when we see you. I don't know exactly when I'm going to post this, but it's bonus material, and hopefully you're enjoying it and you like this little painting, and I know I do. And like I said, happy to share it with you. So when we see you, we'll see you, and meanwhile, take good care and stay out of trouble.